Welcome to the Swim Swam podcast. I'm your host, Coleman Hodges. Joining me today, I've got a very special guest. He is in his 18th season as the head coach of the University of Louisville and just coming off their first ever men's ACC team title in program history. Today, we're sitting down with Arthur Albiero.
Well, it's a very kind introduction there. I don't know about special guest. Certainly, always an honor to be able to join and talk about our sport, talk about our program, and have a chance to really celebrate this pretty unique moment for us.
I'm excited to get the history, get the context behind this moment for the University of Louisville. And we were just talking about it off camera, and I was like, hold on, we have to get this on. So you mentioned you're in your 18th season as the head coach of Louisville, but Louisville is only in its 7th season in the ACC. So can you give us this history of the conference history of Louisville and what you guys have gone through to get to this moment?
Humble beginnings. That's the best way I can tell you. So when I first got here, 03-04 is my first season. We're in Conference USA, and we had I knew it was part of the hiring process. My athletic director said, "Hey, we're finalizing details, but there's a good chance we're going to go to the Big East in a couple of years." And okay, I love the challenge. But nonetheless, we had 2 years in Conference USA, and the first year we were kind of bottom of the barrel, to be honest with you, and we got a lot better on the men's side my second year, and actually we challenged TCU, but we got beat. We were second to TCU that year. I think the women were still third or fourth. Then we moved to the Big East, and the numbers might escape me a little bit, but I remember we're in the bottom of the barrel. I think we were 7th or 8th on the men, and about the same on the women. That's what we started in the Big East, and I remember going to New York. It was our first conference meet there. And just having a vision early on to just battle all away and try to be competitive, right? We start early on saying, hey, these are some of the things we want to do. Winning a conference title was part of it. So moving to the Big East, that became the clear target, to try to have a chance with that. And we fought our way. And I want to say 2009, it came down to the last relay in Indianapolis, and we got beat on the last relay for the meet and to Notre Dame. And that was, and then after that, 2010, we won in Pittsburgh, and then 2011 we hosted, and that was the first time we won the women too. So then we kind of created that trajectory, and then really, in my mind, luckily, we're in the right place, right time to really get moved up as a university, as an athletic department to the ACC, and came into the ACC. I'll never forget the first year. You pick your seats based on your finish on the previous year, and we were the new kids on the block. So we sat way far down deep there by the scoreboard at Georgia Tech, and quite frankly, I loved it. I thought, that's great. We just gotta go earn it, and I think that's been kind of the mentality of Louisville swimming. It's we love the idea of we just want to have a lane, and if we do, we have a chance, and we just want to go earn it. And that's kind of set the tone. And coming to the ACC, we've been knocking on the door. And as you mentioned, our 7th season in the ACC, out of the previous 6, we were second twice. We were second 5 times. We had an unfortunately relay DQ last year that dropped us to 3rd. And then, you keep knocking on the door. Sooner or later, it has to open, and that's been our mentality. And this year, we were fortunate enough in the midst of this crazy season that we've all had to deal with, and to be able to come out on top, and a few points. But I love the way somebody put it for me. It's maybe the win was 2 points, but it's 2 points built on the previous, honestly, 17 years of people helping us score points and move us in that direction. So it was a culmination, I think, really of our history in the last 18 seasons.
That I do love that phrasing. That is a great way to put it. And like you said, you guys have been second nearly every year you've been in the ACC, which I didn't realize. And it's interesting because when we think of Louisville, when I think of Louisville from a media perspective, I always kind of think of you guys as like, well, we're gonna do good at the conference meet, but we're gonna do great at the NCAA meet. And I didn't realize you guys had been that close to a conference title every single year. I mean, coming into this year, were you guys? Was it a goal to compete for that conference title?
It always has been, right? It's on our one of the goals that we set from the very beginning, right? If you go back and you look at, I gave a presentation actually to college at USA Swimming a couple of years ago in Colorado, and really it was kind of a little bit of the historical perspective of our culture, and that was the title of the topic. It was culture, the fabric of Louisville swimming, and really from the beginning, we just set the target. Okay, we want to put people on the U.S. national team. We want to put people in position to compete at the highest level in the Olympics. International teams. Certainly, we have a few international athletes. I mean, to provide them that opportunity. Working backwards from that was like, okay, it's to be a team. Which again, if you think back to those humble beginnings, to be a team that can have a chance to go at NCAAs and be a top 4 program in the country. We wanted to bring a trophy, and then working backwards from that, have a chance to win a conference title. So, is that a new goal? No, it's not a new goal, but I can't tell you that it's not something that we've been fixated on. It's not. And you said it perfectly, and I appreciate that reputation, if you will. I mean, that's been our mojo. That's been our history. We certainly have done well at the conference level, but historically, we are that team. I think 2019, we were just talking about this recently. We were probably some analysis you guys put together. We were the team with the highest improvement overseas at the 2019 Women's NCAAs. So we pride ourselves in that, and we work for that. It doesn't just happen. Certainly in the pool, but there's a lot of other things that we do behind the scenes that I feel like have contributed for us to have this mentality, this mindset that we go to NCAAs to be at our very best. That's been Louisville swimming, and it's from the very beginning. Our very first NCAA qualifier, we had a guy who kind of barely made into the meet. I want to say 145.5 in the 2 fly. This is back in 04-05 season, and he goes to NCAAs and he goes 144.6 and ends up ninth. Hey, that's how we do it. Then our first female ever to qualify, I want to say it was 2000, maybe 8 or 9. 2008, yes. Leslie Van Winkle, 400 IMer, and she kind of barely makes into the meet, and then first time out, she scores. She's in the B final of the 400 IM, improving a few seconds. So that's just been our philosophy, our kind of our motto internally. Like, yes, we're going to go to NCAAs to be better, and certainly that's the conversation with this group right here, right now, as we get ready for the next thing.
And so let's talk about that conference meet a little bit. Obviously, like you said, if you win a meet by 2 points, every swim matters. There's not any swim that doesn't matter at all, because every swim contributed to that win. But we're looking back on it, having had some time to reflect. Were there swims from your team that really did surprise you or stand out to you?
I think. I knew we're onto something good. I felt like this season, one of the things let me go backwards a little bit. I think, from when we started this, we were able to have access to our pool in June 8th, but I wouldn't call that practice. We could only swim for 30 minutes for almost like 2 full weeks, and we're just getting wet. And eventually, and we felt like we got it going, and then we had to be shut down for 2 weeks in July, back to zero. And then start back up, and then just dealing with the details. I think we've all have managed this year, so many, contact tracing. I mean, that's become the 2 most scariest words around here, and the greatest text message is the one we get from our athletic trainer when, it's all tests are negative today. Yeah, that's the biggest celebration, and I'm always nervous, we get tested. I'm like, crazy things happen. They happen a few times. We had a number of kids that had to sit out, and on the women's side, we had a young lady, distance girl, who set out for 22 days out of the water completely in January. That is not part of the training program. And credit to Coach Cameron and the phenomenal job that he did to get her back. She got on the podium. and I got a medal at ACCs and qualified for NCAA. So I think for us from the beginning, it was just like, let's just go one day at a time. We never, we normally do a team retreat and we kind of set out the targets of the season, academic goals, personal goals in some ways, team goals. And we never really did that because I felt like we're just trying to get to tomorrow. It seems like out of place to have a team goal discussion in the beginning of the season, right? So let's just do kind of the most basic thing, which is really being the foundation of our program, which is, okay, let's just go try to get a little bit better today. Today we got access today. Yes, let's go get a little bit better today. Tomorrow, we don't know, but today let's get a little bit better, and I think I've always kind of put this in practice at a different time, but this year was a constant. And at the end of the practice, instead of a 200 warm down, 400 warm down, it's like, it's a 400 gratitude swim, and I want every practice, I wanted the team to have this feeling of like, man, this is awesome. We don't know about tomorrow. We're not going to worry about tomorrow. It's actually biblical, but we're going to focus on today, and let's have a great practice today and then be grateful that we got this practice in, right? If you got to the item number, whatever number that is, last line on the practice, hey, let's be grateful, let's celebrate, and let's have this attitude. And I think that kind of set the tone for us to like, hey, you know what, man, one day at a time, let's just be grateful. And I think as we got closer, the fall was a total mess. I wasn't even sure if I was going to swim people, if I was going to redshirt everybody. Like, Bob Bowman comes out swinging on that, and I'm like, maybe that's what I need to be doing. I don't know. Talked it over with my athletic directors here. And they gave me good advice. Let's just go one thing at a time. Let's see what needs to happen, and we'll support you no matter what. And so that made me feel like, okay, we're just going to work through it. But I didn't want to happen again what happened to last year's seniors. That March 12th meeting that I had, it was one of the most, I know it's hard to explain this for someone who doesn't understand what we do, but it in many ways, the emotion, the feeling, it was pretty close to like full on mourning, like we lost a loved one. The chance to compete for NCAAs was that deep. I still remember the look in the eyes of the seniors who had to come to a realization that their careers are over. Just like that. It was brutal. It was brutal. And it hurt us for a while. I mean, we were as a program, I think we lived for the NCAA Championships, and it took a toll on all of us, But the one thing we tried to do coming off of that, Coleman, was, okay, that first week, it was a disaster. Nobody had any guidance, even internally. Nobody knew anything, right? We just know that we can't swim right now. And we just had a Zoom meeting about a week later, and that was still, everybody was like, looked like everybody's been crying for days, and I think some of our kids were like truly depressed. Like it's this feeling of mourning. I kid you not, the emotion of it. And so we just had to find some kind of direction. And I just remember, I don't even know that I really thought through this a whole lot, but kind of spurred the moment. I said, look, guys, we're going to be that team this year. We're going to make that decision right here, right now, that we're going to be that team that's going to thrive. We're not going to survive this. Like, we're not just going to, kind of check the boxes each day. No, we're going to find a way to thrive and be that team that's going to come out on this better than ever, and I think it was really important, looking back at it, it was important for us just to kind of, everybody needed to wake up a little bit and get out of this mess and feeling sorry for ourselves that we all were, because, that wasn't going to change. We needed to move on. And I think even though the next, probably 3-4 months after that, we had very little access to pools. And, it was, again, the stress level was all-time high. Is the Olympics going to happen? Our post-grad group, the level of responsibility for me and my staff to feel like, man, we have a duty, right, to provide an environment for these guys and 4 kids on the U.S. national team that I feel like we have a responsibility here, So it was a tough time, I think, for all of us. But those early decisions, at least to have the mindset of, okay, we're going to thrive. I think it just opened everybody's mind up, especially mine, to say, okay, we're going to look for ways to be successful in the midst of all this. And at no point honestly, at that point, we were not discussing, oh, we're going to go win ACCs this year. We were just trying to get to the next thing truly, and it wasn't until, and then, we swam a little invite. We hosted an invite, and a couple of different teams that were supposed to come all got shut down through COVID. So then we just still hosted it, but none of our times counted, so we were clearly below the radar screen, not because we wanted to. I tried desperately to try to get another team here. I even tried to have a conversation with, NCAAs, and had everything documented that we did everything we could to get another team here to have it a bona fide competition, but it still didn't count. So and again, I was like, okay, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to get ready for the next thing. So we ended up suiting up in a couple of dual meets. We've never done that before in January, but I just felt like we need to race. We need to get into this racing fast mode. The walls come a little bit faster with a suit on, so we need to rehearse that. And but even going into the meet, I think whatever simulations that were out there, I think they had us like 5th or 6th, and that's okay. I don't mind those things. I like those. And that give us a chance to go do something. So but then as we got closer and closer, the thing I noticed was that the dynamic we had in this team was very unique. We had we had 3 guys really that were, I don't know, we want to call it superstars, the guys that have performed at the ACC level at a major, A final, guys that on the podium, 2 of them and 1 incoming, that guys are going to make a massive difference on relays. And, 2 guys opt out. And part of it was, that was the right thing to do for them. They had great access in their homes to pursue. These guys are pursuing their Olympic dreams. And I just didn't feel like coming back here for a college season that was unknown at best made any sense for them. So they stayed home, and we supported that. And we figured, hey, but that being said, now the lineup changed a little bit. Now we have a couple spots in the lineup that we didn't have before. And that created an amazing opportunity for those guys that have been knocking on the door. We had 2 juniors in the conference team that gotten better and better and better, but just hadn't had their chance yet. And now here we are. They have a chance. They have their moment. And it was awesome to see. So I think that opportunity almost created a little different energy at the bottom of the lineup, if you will, because guys felt like, hey, this is my turn. I can get in there. And I think that normally sets the whole thing on fire. If the bottom guys are fighting their way through, it puts pressure on everybody to elevate. And I think we had that, so you look at the meet, it was far from perfect. We had 2 guys who didn't score, should have, but didn't. And yet we found a way, right? As shorthanded as we were in so many ways, but we didn't spend any energy, honestly, worried about the things that we didn't have. We're just like, hey, let's just go swim and let's go have fun with it. And let's see if we can do better than our seeds, right? That's really all there was. It was a fun endeavor. But the dynamics internally, I think, was really good. And the guys were like, they were believing. And I wasn't going to tell them, I'm a numbers guy, and I wasn't going to tell them, hey, the numbers are not getting up in our favor. I'm like, yeah, let's go, and I give credit to, the 2 coaches that stay back. Normally, we have a couple coaches stay back to the men's team, and then they join the women's meet at the end. But this year, things were so limited that we just decided, hey, you guys just stay back with the men, period. And Coach Chris Lindauer and Coach Cameron Chastain, who are both alumni of the program, did a phenomenal job of really, I think, galvanizing the group in that final week, when there was just the guys here getting ready to go do something. And they showed up confident, and so many things didn't go our way. It's part of the game, but we just kept on fighting. That's what I love the most about this group. We just kept on, let's just get to the next event, do everything we can here, and let's get to the next event, which is really, again, being the mentality we've had all season long. So it's nothing new. It was just more of the same. We're just rehearsing the thing we've been doing all along, and being resilient. If this season taught us anything, is the ability to work through a whole new set of procedures, right? We got procedured out this year of new things and standards and expectations of nothing to do with expectations in the water, just everything so we can get to the water, So I go back to that. It was just a very a spirit of gratitude. That's really what we had all season.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, numbers wise, it was like, I don't know if this is gonna happen, guys. But I watched the last night of finals on the live stream, and no matter what heat it was, C final, B final, A final, Louisville was going out there and having sensational swims. And even if they weren't touching the wall first, you guys were celebrating like you won the whole thing every single heat. Can you take me through that last final session, and especially with you have a guy in Evgeny Samov who 4-time ACC champion in the same event. And then, your son, Nick Albiero, same thing. He defended his 200 fly title for the 4th time in his career. Can you take me through that last night of finals?
Well, we knew, we pride ourselves in our training, that we prepare for that day, right? And it sounds like a little bit of coach talk, but that was really kind of an internal thing. Like we felt like, okay, going into it, we're prepared. I felt, going backwards a little bit, I felt like Friday morning we had a really good session, but we left a few things on the table. We had 4 guys that were doubling that day. So we had more swims than everybody else. And I felt like, our only chance, certainly as a very logical coach at that moment, I'm thinking our only chance is to have some room here, because tomorrow we're going to go in, we're going to have less swims than anybody on the last day, and we are even enough, right? And then really going to the last day, it was like, okay, we have 16 swims, 17 swims actually that day. One guy had doubled earlier. And then, everybody else had 21 swims and 19 swims. So I'm like, the odds are not in our favor and we're going to have to outscore them. Like, hey, you know what? But let's not worry about it. Let's just keep going, right? And we swim very well in the morning, missed a couple things. There were a couple of DQs that happened in the field and kind of changed and moved people into, from the high C final to into the bottom of the B. It's like, no. I know everybody's gonna be fighting for a chance tonight, and if you're 16th, you still have a chance to win that heat, and that's massive point swing, So, but we again, after the morning, we felt like, okay, we swim well. We had 16 great swims out of 17, right? And I felt like, okay, we gave us a chance, we're alive, but the odds are still far from being in our favor. And then first early heats of mile, and we felt like we needed something to spark the group. And one guy was a little subpar, but then, Suburtsev just put it together. He struggled mightily at this meet last year. The kid's a world-class swimmer, just learning still how to do a short course, and put it together, and, 14:51 in the early heats. And that just kind of put pressure on the field a little bit, right? And he ended up 3rd overall. And I think momentum, like, okay, that's good. We're alive. We got through that mile, and now we can get ready for the 200 back. And, and it was just kind of event by event. And I fully expected and quite frankly hoped that we would go into the relay with a chance, and we felt like we had the guys who are going to compete their hearts out. And we felt like if it comes down to that, we can win the 400 free relay to win the meet. I'd rather not, not good for anybody's heart. But the guys were prepared for that. And that's what we talked about. Like, if it comes to that, we are prepared. And I wanted them to have the confidence that we're just going to go race, whether we win or not. That was going to come down a few hundreds, but certainly the mindset was, let's just have a chance. Let's see if we can get a chance, by the time we get to the relay. And that's what it was. And I think, honestly, we never even talked about, I had a pretty good meeting on Friday morning with the guys. Friday night, we had just a quick chat. And then, honestly, Saturday, everybody was kind of moving in different schedule, and we never really had a little powwow. It was more like everybody knew what needed to happen. And, the thing I challenged him was just, I wanted to swim with, the foundation of Louisville swimming has never been about arms and legs. And as much as we spend so much time on execution and detail and strategy, sometimes you got to throw that out of the window and just go with the heart. And that was my challenge to the group. Like, this is one of those moments where this is going to be the foundation of Louisville swimming. We're just going to swim with heart, and we're going to leave it in the pool. And I told him, I said, look, we're going to leave it in the pool, and no matter what, I'm going to buy you guys dinner. So just go have fun with this. And, we got steak and cheesecake coming on later on. So it's fine. Enjoy the moment.
That's a great team meeting right there.
I didn't have to give them rah. Like, and it was like we needed more, right? If things were just what they were on paper, we're still going to be short. So, it's like, hey, let's just go race and let's see what we can do. So I think they understood that each moment, right? Not only we had to hold our seeds or improve our seeds, but we needed to hold the opponents, right? It was like, it was net gain, right? It wasn't just about, scoring more here. It was about, keeping the net, taking some from the other guys and hopefully, point by point. So it was, as I've learned a long time ago, close meets are awesome for audience. Like the ACC network is going to show the 2-hour, kind of show of the meet. That's going to be fun to watch. I'm going to enjoy that. But man, in the middle of it, it's indigestion all day. You just, I don't know, it's going to be enough. And I think it means so much for us because we care, right? We put so much time and effort and energy. And it really wasn't, at no point I felt like this is for me. I just felt like this is for our program. It's for our administration who supported men's swimming. When I got here, to give you perspective, the men's program had a half a scholarship, 0.5, and I had to sell my idea at the time, like, listen, but we need to invest in men's swimming, and he kind of took me up on it. And I got the nicest note from him, Tom Jurish, former AD, just saying, I said, man, you're crazy enough to believe and invest in swimming at a time where it wasn't a popular thing to do. And he's like, man, I'm just eternally grateful, and that we did, and look at what we've been able to do. So, it was an awesome moment for alumni. I kid you not, man, I had over 160 text messages Saturday night into Sunday, and then I got a bunch more on Sunday, email, voicemails, and I've worked through them all. I reply to every single person, very grateful, and I think it's that's how long I've been doing this. I know a lot of people in the sport of swimming, but I think it meant something for us. It meant something for our program, for our community, to be honest, and really for our athletic department, and so really unique, special moment for all of us involved.
And I'm so glad we were able to get your perspective on that as well, because I really love hearing your insight and wisdom, because you've been doing this for so long, and it's, you kind of know how to run things. But, like we said, you guys do good at conference and you do better at NCs. With NCs, just, women's starts in like a week or 2 weeks or something. And, men's obviously after that. What do you, with this year being what it has been in terms of, restrictions and just chaos, essentially, what are you looking for at NCAAs this year?
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. I think, pretty much what I've been talking about here, right, is this, it's a continuation of this process that we started way back when. I think, to your point, things are so unique. Like, just as a point, I'm going backwards for a second, but the fact that we were in Heat 2, and then, NC State was in Heat 3. We're not even racing each other for a championship. How most awkward moment, and I think it's going to be the same at NCAAs, with open lanes. I think the comment I heard from some of my guys, especially early in the meet, it felt like it was just a time trial. It didn't feel like it was a conference final, when you line up and you're racing, for your team, and so I think that's been certainly unique. But, I think going forward, we qualified 12 girls, which is fantastic. I think that's above what we predicted, certainly. 5 freshmen, right? 5 freshmen that, man, all of them dealt with COVID issues, right? Some of them tested positive, had to be out. One of them 22 days. Some of them 2 full weeks in January. Some of them on contact tracing. That's the thing. The freshmen all live together in the dorms, and one of them test positive. Surprise. So these guys really have battled their way to be in this position to qualify for NCAA. So the resilience that this group has shown, I'm really proud. I'm really proud of them, and certainly, on a personal level, my daughter is part of this freshman class, and I'm just really grateful. It's the word that keeps coming to me, like, that we're in this position. So we got 12 girls going to the meet. We're bringing a couple more to complete our relays. We're taking a team, 14 girls lining up and trying to do something. And as I love the psych sheet scoring. I love that exercise, and I think we're 16th right now. So, okay. I love it. Let's go race. And that's what we deserve up to this point. That's what we've done, So the thing we felt like we just had to get some of these kids that missed so much into the meet. And then in many ways, it's the same thing you hear about football. Why, it's so important to go to a bowl because you get another 3-4 weeks of practice. Yes, we needed 3-4 weeks of practice to get this group, back in the weight room, back in Power X, and back on things that they just missed flat out. So, I think we're going in knowing that we can be better. We can be better. And it's a fun approach, right? When you go into something with a bunch of young kids that never been there. So there's unknown fact. But we know the tradition of your point, and you said it. Louisville swimming has been about, we do well at conference, but man, we really do well at NCAAs. That's been our mindset.
Well, Arthur, it's always good chatting with you, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk. Is there any parting thoughts for our audience before we sign off?
No, I think it's the thing I noticed, right, and looking at the ACC. I mean, this was probably one of the deepest, maybe the fastest ACC meet ever. And no disrespect to all the other conferences out there, but the ACC has shifted. When you have a team, I think Pittsburgh that was made an A cut in the 200 medley relay, and they were 7th on the 200 medley relay. I think it says a lot about this conference. So it's a monster, and it's only going to get better. And for us to be able to win, arguably one of the fastest meets ever, it's a great honor for us. So, but like I said, I think it starts at the top with our administration, who's supported us from all along. That's why I'm here 18 years and counting. And I love the respect that we have earned internally. But then it's the details behind the scenes. I've been very fortunate to have an amazing coaching staff, and I can brag, right, because it's my opinion here, but I believe wholeheartedly I have the best coaching staff in the country. Chris Lindauer, Vlad Poliakov, Cameron Chastain, and Stephanie Youngkin. These guys are special. They're members of my family. All 4 of them actually swam for me at one point or another. 3 of them are Louisville alumni, and this is not a job. Never has been. This is a passion. This is who they are, and the work that they've put in. But we've had amazing consistency. It starts with that, and our strength coach has been with us for 16 out of my 18 years. Our massage therapist has been with us well over 10 years. So you start that up, and then there's the group behind the scenes that have done so much, and our director of ops and massage therapy, as I mentioned, nutritionist. It's just it's so many people, sports psychology. It's people that do so much behind the scenes to give us a chance. And that was so awesome, Coleman. If you haven't seen it, we had a little splash off celebration on Tuesday morning. And that was just a chance to really thank and appreciate all these people that had done a lot for our program. And our team doctors came in and jumped in the pool with the team, our nutritionists, right? Our sports psychologists, our athletic directors, right? They felt the moment and really supported us. So I think it's awesome to share a special moment like this because that's the reality of our sport. We need a lot of people doing a lot of things for us. So I'm very grateful. The University of Louisville has been a fantastic place to grow, to build a program. And as a dad who has had 3 kids in the program, I can be prouder of the people they get to associate with. Awesome people that are certainly doing well in the pool, but these guys are going to be winners in the game of life. And I love that. At the end of the day, that's their number one mission. So I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you today. And, I love what you guys do. Swim has been has had a huge impact in the way swimming is discussed and talked about. So you guys done a great job. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Swim Swam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take Swim Swam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.